What if the whispers surrounding Pharaoh's sunken treasure weren't just about gold and jewels, but a carefully hidden secret buried deeper than the ocean floor itself? A secret guarded by the silent, unknowable depths. Tonight, we won't be diving into that murky mystery, unearthing long-lost artifacts or deciphering ancient riddles. Instead, we'll find our peace in the slow, deliberate rhythm of the waves themselves, as we imagine the meticulous craftsmanship of the ships that once carried the pharaoh's riches across the Nile before their tragic end. We will follow the journey of those vessels, crafted with such care, only to meet their watery fate. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe to Snooze Stories. Now dim the lights. Let the gentle lapping of the virtual waves wash over you as we trace the journey of a single magnificent ship, from the bustling shipyards to the final, silent embrace of the deep. Imagine the sun setting on the Nile, the scent of cedar and pitch heavy in the air, as skilled hands carefully shape the wood, each plank a prayer for a safe journey. We hear the creaks and groans of the timbers as the vessel sets sail, a silent testament to the human dedication behind the pharaoh's final voyage, a voyage that ultimately ended at the bottom of the sea. And that is where our story begins. The Nile, a lifeblood of ancient Egypt, a ribbon of brown snaking through the ochre sands, cradles the very heart of our narrative. Imagine, if you will, the bustling energy of Thebes, the scent of incense mingling with the earthy aroma of the Nile mud, the rhythmic clang of hammers echoing from the shipyards nestled along the riverbank. These were not merely vessels of transport. They were floating palaces, painstakingly crafted from the finest cedar, their timbers meticulously joined with rope and dowels, sealed with fragrant pitch that would protect them from the relentless sun and the gnawing teeth of the sea. Picture the craftsmen, their weathered hands moving with practiced grace, each stroke imbued with a lifetime's experience. The air hummed with the collective effort, the rhythmic rasp of tools, a lullaby that carried on the gentle breeze. The sun, a molten orb sinking towards the horizon, cast long shadows that stretched and danced across the bustling scene. The scene was filled with the sounds of human endeavor, the laughter of apprentices, the sharp crack of the master shipwright's whip, the shouts of foremen organizing the work. They were building more than mere ships. They were building dreams, aspirations, hopes for a future solidified in timber and resin. These were the vessels that connected Egypt to the wider world, traversing the waters of the Mediterranean, navigating the treacherous currents of the Red Sea, their sails catching the wind, carrying them to lands both near and far. The Red Sea, a shimmering expanse of deep azure under the relentless sun, held both the promise of riches and the ever-present threat of peril. Its unforgiving nature, its capricious currents, and the legendary dangers lurking within its depths all contributed to the mystique and the reverence that surrounded these voyages. Let us now shift our focus to the geography itself. Picture the land that cradled the cradle of civilization. The Nile Delta, a verdant tapestry woven from countless waterways and fertile fields, spills into the Mediterranean, a life-giving embrace that nourished the burgeoning Egyptian civilization. Eastward, beyond the fertile crescent of the Nile Valley, lies the Eastern Desert, a desolate expanse of rugged mountains and shifting sands, a harsh landscape that tested the endurance of both man and beast. Its harshness, however, belied its importance. Here, amidst the seemingly barren rocks, lay the precious resources vital to the pharaoh's empire. From these deserts, the routes lead south and east, towards the Red Sea. Imagine the caravans, laden with precious goods, winding their way through this arid landscape, their camels rhythmically swaying in time with the ancient rhythm of the desert winds. These were the arteries of the empire, connecting Egypt to the lands beyond, bringing wealth and influence to the pharaohs. And then finally, the Red Sea, a gateway to Punt, to the mysterious lands of Arabia, to the incense-laden shores of the Far East. Its waters, deep and unpredictable, whispered tales of both bounty and danger, of prosperity and loss. The coastline itself, a patchwork of rocky inlets and sandy beaches, offered only limited protection to the vessels venturing forth. The waters, while appearing calm at times, could turn treacherous in an instant, swept by violent storms and unpredictable currents. The reefs, hidden beneath the surface, posed a constant threat, waiting to claim any unwary ships. The coastline was a mixture of beauty and menace, a reflection of the very essence of the sea itself. This was not a peaceful, placid expanse of water, but a vibrant, dynamic entity, a force of nature that commanded respect, obedience, and fear. The sun sets once again on our scene, and the wind carries the scent of salt and sand, a reminder of the harsh realities awaiting the travelers setting forth on their perilous journeys across these waters. Let the gentle sounds of the waves lull you towards sleep, as we gently prepare to explore further the ancient world that gave rise to the legend of Pharaoh's drowning. The scent of salt and sand lingers, a subtle perfume carried on the evening breeze. The sun, a molten orb sinking below the horizon, paints the sky in hues of orange and rose, a breathtaking spectacle mirrored in the gentle ripples of the sea. As darkness descends, we turn our attention to a figure central to the legend of the Exodus, Ramses II, the pharaoh whose reign is most often interwoven with this epic tale. His name, a whisper on the wind, echoes through the centuries. Ramses II, the image that comes to mind, etched in stone and preserved in the sands of time, is one of immense power. His colossal statues, gazing out across the millennia, speak of a reign that spanned over 60 years, a lifetime etched into the very fabric of ancient Egypt. Think, if you will, of the weight of that crown, the weight of a kingdom stretching far and wide across fertile valleys and sun-baked deserts. Imagine the murmur of countless subjects, the endless procession of petitioners, the constant demands of governance. Feel the weight, the immense responsibility resting on those powerful shoulders. Yet, even an empire as vast and seemingly invincible as that of Ramses II possessed vulnerabilities. Let us consider the very structure of the society he ruled. The Nile, lifeblood of Egypt, sustained a delicate balance. The fertile land, dependent on the annual floods, was a source of both prosperity and peril. A failure of the floods, a shift in the river's course, could bring famine and chaos, threatening the very foundation of the kingdom. Picture the anxiety in the hearts of the people, the dependence on the whims of nature, a silent prayer whispered with every sunrise. The rhythmic pulse of life along the river, the steady current, is mirrored in the heartbeat of the kingdom, strong yet vulnerable. The colossal building projects undertaken during Ramses' reign, a testament to his power and ambition, also reveal a subtle vulnerability. The construction of magnificent temples and monuments required a vast workforce, a constant drain on resources and manpower. Imagine the scale of these endeavors: the quarrying of stone, the transport of massive blocks, the intricate carvings, the sheer manpower needed, the endless toil, the sweat and strain of countless workers, the constant demand for resources. Consider the potential for unrest, the seeds of discontent sown amidst the grandeur. These structures, monuments to his power, subtly reveal the fragility of his grip on authority. Beyond the physical structures, there's the intricate tapestry of political alliances, court intrigues, and potential threats from neighboring kingdoms. The whispers of discontent, the murmurs of rebellion, the machinations of ambitious officials all contribute to a complex picture of power and vulnerability. Imagine the endless negotiations, the subtle displays of power, the ever-present tension that hung in the air of the royal court, the whispers in the shadowed hallways, the veiled threats, the delicate balance of alliances. Feel the silent weight of these unseen conflicts, the slow burn of political machinations. The reign of Ramses II, seemingly eternal in its grandeur, was also a testament to the inherent impermanence of power. It was a reign marked by both unparalleled prosperity and periods of internal strife, a constant interplay between stability and vulnerability, between the might of an empire and the fragility of human ambition. The setting sun casts long shadows, mirroring the complexities of this vast and intricate period in ancient Egyptian history. Let the gentle rhythm of the waves wash away the day's worries as we drift towards sleep. The sun dips below the horizon, painting the western sky in hues of burnt orange and deep rose. The Nile, a silver ribbon winding through the land, reflects the fading light. As darkness descends, we turn our attention to the intricate tapestry of Egyptian society, a hierarchy as layered and complex as the sediment deposited by the annual flood. Imagine the lives of the people who lived under Ramses II's reign, a vast spectrum of existence, stretching from the opulent palaces of the Pharaoh to the humble mud brick dwellings along the riverbanks. At the apex, of course, sat the Pharaoh, the divine ruler, considered a living god. His power was absolute, his word law. But even the Pharaoh was subject to the invisible currents of societal pressure, the weight of expectations, the ceaseless demands of maintaining order in a vast and populous kingdom. Picture him surrounded by the trappings of power, the gleaming gold, the rich textiles, the endless procession of servants, yet still a man bound by the intricate web of his own creation. Beneath the Pharaoh, a complex web of officials and nobles formed the ruling elite. The vizier, the Pharaoh's chief minister, held immense power, managing the vast bureaucracy that governed the land. Then came the high priests, their influence woven into the fabric of daily life, controlling vast temple estates and wielding significant political clout. The scribes, keepers of knowledge and records, held positions of considerable importance, their expertise crucial to the functioning of the state. Imagine the painstaking work of recording the harvests, the taxes, the movements of armies, the countless details that held the empire together. The ink drying slowly on papyrus, the rhythmic scratch of the reed pen, a quiet symphony of administration. Further down the social ladder, we find the craftsmen and artisans, the sculptors who carved magnificent statues from granite, the painters who adorned tombs with vibrant frescoes, the jewelers who crafted exquisite ornaments. Picture their skilled hands, the precision of their movements, the pride they took in their work, the scent of beeswax and pigments in the air, the gleam of polished metal, the soft touch of fine linen. Their lives were lived in the rhythm of their craft, the repetition of familiar tasks, a steady beat within the larger societal rhythm. Then there were the farmers, the backbone of Egyptian society, their lives intimately tied to the Nile's rhythms. Their existence was a cycle of planting, irrigating, harvesting, a constant dance with the capricious river. Picture their sun-baked skin, their calloused hands, the quiet dignity of their labor under the relentless sun. The smell of fertile earth, the feel of the water on their hands, the satisfying weight of a full harvest basket. The soldiers, too, held a place of importance, defending the kingdom's borders and suppressing internal unrest. Imagine their disciplined ranks, the gleam of their bronze weapons, the unwavering loyalty to the Pharaoh, the clang of their weapons, the thud of their marching feet, the grim determination etched on their faces, the taste of dust and sweat, the constant tension of preparedness, the underlying knowledge of potential violence. At the bottom of the pyramid lay the slaves, their lives defined by servitude. Their existence, while undoubtedly harsh, was integrated into the broader society, contributing to its economic and social fabric. Their labor, though often unseen and unacknowledged, was essential to the functioning of the Egyptian state. Imagine their quiet toil, the heavy burden of their work, the unspoken resilience in the face of adversity, the quiet strength of their collective existence, the weight of their silent contributions to the vast edifice of ancient Egyptian life. Now, consider the potential impact of a mass exodus, a sudden departure of a significant portion of the population across a wide spectrum of social strata. The disruption to the delicate balance of power, the economic consequences of lost labor, the ripple effects that spread through every level of society, the silent absence filling the places once occupied by skilled hands, the empty fields mirroring the emptiness in the administrative records, the quiet fading of the familiar rhythms, like the slow ebbing of the tide, leaving behind only the silence of the deserted shore. Let these images, these sounds, these textures lull you into a peaceful slumber. The night is quiet, the waves gentle. Let sleep come now. The deserted shore whispers secrets to the wind. The silence, heavy with the weight of absence, is broken only by the gentle lapping of waves against the sand. Imagine, if you will, the everyday life of those who once populated this land, before the silence descended. Picture the slow, deliberate rhythm of their days, a tapestry woven from repetition and routine, a life lived largely in the shadow of the sun. Sunrise, a slow burn across the eastern horizon, painting the sky in hues of apricot and rose. The first rays, filtering through the thin curtains of linen, rouse the inhabitants of their mud brick homes. The air, still cool, carries the scent of the Nile, a damp, earthy aroma mingling with the sweet perfume of acacia blossoms. The rhythmic sounds of grinding grain begin, a gentle rasp that accompanies the morning's quiet routine. Hands, hardened by years of labor, move with practiced ease, the grains falling through the stones with a predictable rhythm. The rhythmic repetition, a quiet lullaby to the awakening day. The day unfolds with a measured pace. Farmers, their bodies sculpted by years of toil in the fields, venture forth, the heavy weight of their hoes a familiar burden. The sun climbs higher, its relentless heat steadily increasing, its light illuminating the rich, dark soil, fertile and life-giving. The steady planting, the methodical weeding, the gentle turning of the soil, these are acts repeated countless times, each one a small contribution to the collective endeavor. The air is alive with the buzz of insects, a constant hum that blends with the steady rhythm of the workers' movements. The repetitive sounds, a peaceful background to the work. Along the riverbanks, the fishermen cast their nets, their movements as predictable as the sunrise. The gentle splash of the water, the quiet tug of the line, the anticipation of the catch. These are simple acts, woven into the fabric of their daily lives, each action a mirror of the last. The predictable nature of the work, a comforting consistency in their lives. The quiet satisfaction of a day's work well done. In the bustling markets, the sounds are a kaleidoscope of human activity. The haggling of merchants, the cries of vendors, the clinking of pottery, the low murmur of conversation. Yet even here, amidst the seeming chaos, there is a rhythm, a pattern. The familiar faces, the established routines, the predictable flow of trade, all contribute to a sense of order and stability. Each transaction, a small repetitive step in the greater economic cycle. The unchanging nature of the marketplace, a steady beat in the life of the city. The sun, a silent observer, dips slowly below the western horizon, casting long shadows across the land. The air cools, carrying with it the scent of evening, a blend of earth and water, and the lingering warmth of the day's relentless sun. The rhythmic sounds of the day gradually fade, replaced by the softer sounds of the evening. The gentle murmur of conversation, the gentle lapping of the river against the banks, the soft crooning of lullabies, the predictable end to the day, a gentle transition into the quiet night. The work is done, the day's routine completed. The predictable sleep beckons, a promise of rest after a day of familiar repetition. The stars emerge, their silent presence a comforting constant, mirroring the consistency of the lives lived beneath them. The quiet darkness descends, a gentle blanket of stillness, a soothing balm for weary bodies and minds. Let the rhythm of the day, the quiet repetition of life on the banks of the Nile, lull you into a tranquil slumber. The night is deep, the waves calm. Sleep now. Let the silence embrace you. The silence embraces you, a cool, dark comfort after the day's heat. The Nile, a ribbon of obsidian under the star-strewn sky, continues its ancient rhythm, a constant pulse against the shore. Imagine, if you will, the lives lived along its banks, lives inextricably bound to its capricious nature. The river, a lifeline, a source of sustenance, a pathway, and a barrier, all rolled into one magnificent ever-flowing entity. The rich, dark soil nourished by its annual flood provides life, teeming with the promise of sustenance. The fertile land stretches out, a verdant tapestry under the night sky, punctuated by the flickering lamps of dwellings. each a small ember of life against the vast darkness. Feel the cool night air on your skin, a gentle caress that echoes the river's slow, deliberate flow. The scent of water lilies, faint but persistent, mingles with the earthy aroma of the newly tilled fields. The sound of the water, a constant murmur, a gentle susurrus, lulls the senses, a soothing balm against the day's exertions. The rhythmic lapping of the waves against the reed boats moored along the bank creates a hypnotic tempo, a soothing counterpoint to the quiet breathing of the sleeping villagers. Consider the sheer scale of the Nile, its immense power capable of both creation and destruction. The annual inundation, a vital process for agriculture, is also a force that demands respect, a reminder of nature's unpredictable power. The river's unpredictable nature makes it both a blessing and a burden. A good flood and the granaries overflow. A bad flood and famine stalks the land. The ebb and flow of the river's gift, its generous bounty or its cruel scarcity, dictated the rhythm of life for the people who depended on it. Now picture a journey along the Nile, the slow, deliberate progress of a vessel carrying goods or people. Imagine the sun beating down on the deck, the rhythmic dipping of oars, the creak of the wooden hull. The river a highway of life, a route for trade, for travel, for the slow, steady transport of goods and ideas. But it was also a path of challenges, of navigating treacherous currents, of battling the ever-present threat of storms and rapids. The Nile, for all its generosity, demands respect, a careful negotiation between its bounty and its potential for harm. But the Nile's influence didn't end at its banks. Beyond the fertile floodplain lay the unforgiving desert, a vast, seemingly endless expanse of sand and rock. The journey across the desert, a stark contrast to the relatively easy navigation of the Nile, was a perilous undertaking, fraught with dangers. Imagine the relentless sun, beating down without mercy, the shimmering heat rising from the sands, creating mirages that mocked the weary traveler. Picture the scarcity of water, a precious commodity measured in drops, the parched throats, the desperate search for oases, those rare islands of respite in the desolate landscape, the desert, a test of endurance, a challenge to human resilience. Navigation was less about waterways and more about navigating the celestial bodies, reading the stars for guidance, relying on instinct and experience. The vastness of the empty horizon could test the strongest resolve, leaving travelers vulnerable to sunstroke, dehydration, and the very real threat of becoming lost forever in the sands. The contrast between the life-giving Nile and the hostile desert is stark, a testament to the delicate balance of life and death. The river, a source of abundance and civilization, is juxtaposed against the desert, a symbol of hardship and survival. The two landscapes, seemingly separate, yet inextricably linked, shape the lives and the history of those who lived in their shadow. The rhythmic breathing of the night, soft and steady, continues its comforting lullaby. The Nile sleeps, the desert sleeps, and you too are drifting into the peaceful embrace of slumber. Let the gentle sounds of the night carry you away. Let sleep claim you. The night is deep, the waves calm. Sleep now. The night is deep, the waves calm. Sleep now. The whispers of the wind carry the scent of salt, a subtle reminder of the vast, unforgiving sea, the Red Sea, a name that echoes through the ages, imbued with both legend and reality. We've journeyed through the sands, felt the scorching sun on our skin, and witnessed the stark beauty of the desert. Now we turn our gaze towards the water, towards the mystery of the crossing. The biblical account speaks of a miraculous parting of the waters, a passage through the sea itself. But history, like the sea, has its currents and its depths. Let us delve into the geographical realities, examining the possibilities and the challenges. The Red Sea, or Yam Suf, as it is known in Hebrew, is not a single uniform body of water. It is a complex system of narrow straits, shallow bays, and deeper basins. Its shores fringed by vast expanses of desert. The very definition of Red Sea is fluid, changing depending on the historical perspective and the specific location in question. Imagine the landscape. The sun beats down on the shimmering surface, the heat rising in waves from the sand. The air, thick and heavy with humidity, hangs heavy around you. The water itself, a deep, almost iridescent blue in the deeper sections, is often shallow near the coast, punctuated by reefs and sandbars. The tides, imperceptible at first, slowly reveal and conceal the secrets of the seabed, a rhythm as ancient as the earth itself. Imagine the sounds, the gentle lapping of waves against the shore, the cries of gulls overhead, the whisper of the wind weaving through the sparse vegetation. Consider the possibilities. Could a large group of people have crossed a shallow section of the Red Sea at low tide? Certainly, such shallows exist in various parts of the sea. The timing would have been crucial, of course. A sudden shift in the tide could have catastrophic consequences. The challenge wouldn't be just the water itself, but the logistical nightmare of coordinating the movement of a multitude of people and animals across potentially treacherous terrain. The terrain itself would have played a key role. The proximity of suitable land on either side is important, while the length of the shallow crossing would determine the feasibility of the journey. Now let us examine the alternative perspectives. Some scholars suggest that the crossing may have taken place across a different body of water, perhaps a reed-filled marsh or a lake, a place less exposed to the unpredictable nature of the open sea. The nomenclature, as with the term Red Sea itself, would have been fluid and context-dependent, and such a reinterpretation would account for the different conditions and challenges. This is not to negate the biblical narrative, but rather to consider the possibility of a literal interpretation being limited by the historical perspective. Remember, maps and geographical knowledge in ancient times were far less precise than they are today. What appears obvious to us now may have been far less so in the past. The gentle rhythm of the waves continues. Feel the cool breeze on your skin. Let the image of the vast expanse of water, the shimmering heat haze, the rhythm of the tides, all slowly fade into a calm and peaceful background. The details, the challenges, the uncertainties, all melt away, leaving only the quiet, soothing rhythm of your breathing. Consider the reed beds. Imagine a sea of swaying reeds, a natural barrier shielding a sheltered passage. The rustling of the leaves, a natural symphony playing softly in the background. This, too, would have been a challenge, the potential for getting lost or bogged down in the reeds, the difficulties of navigating such a landscape. This is also a part of the historical truth, the different scenarios, the myriad interpretations. The night unfolds slowly, deliberately. The stars, like distant embers, twinkle in the inky blackness. The silence is profound, broken only by the gentle whisper of the wind. The Red Sea, a body of water rich in both historical and mythological significance, continues to hold its secrets close. But tonight, as you drift towards sleep, the calmness of the night, the steady rhythm of your breath, replaces the turbulent mystery of the past. Sleep now, and let the sea of dreams carry you away, far away from the uncertainties and doubts of the physical world. Let slumber come. The night is deep, the waves calm. Sleep now, and let the whispers of the wind carry you to the shores of ancient knowledge. The Red Sea, a vast expanse of water, holds its secrets close, yet whispers them to those who listen patiently. We, the sleepless historians, delve into these whispers, seeking not answers, but understanding. Tonight, we explore the archaeological evidence, the fragments of the past that may or may not illuminate the path of the Exodus. Consider the landscape itself. The eastern shores of the Red Sea, a harsh, unforgiving terrain, have yielded little in the way of definitive proof. The sands shift, burying remnants of civilizations beneath their relentless tide. Imagine the sun beating down on the exposed earth, the relentless heat baking the very stones. The wind, a constant companion, carries grains of sand, erasing the subtle traces of time. Archaeological digs in this region are a testament to patience, a slow, painstaking process of uncovering fragmented pottery shards. The occasional bone fragment hints mere suggestions of what once was. The dating of these artifacts is often a challenge. The passage of time, relentless and unforgiving, obscures the precise chronology of events. Carbon dating, while a valuable tool, offers ranges rather than precise dates. Imagine the meticulous process, the careful extraction of samples, the anticipation as the results are finally revealed, often leaving more questions than answers. There's the slow process of analysis, the subtle shifts in the readings, the weighing of probabilities, a journey into the realm of approximation, a search for probabilities amongst the uncertainties of time. Even the most carefully constructed timelines remain flexible, adaptable to new discoveries, to revised interpretations. And what of the artifacts themselves? Pottery shards, tools fashioned from stone and bone, the occasional remnant of a dwelling, these fragmented pieces offer tantalizing glimpses, but rarely a complete picture. Imagine holding a shard in your hand, its surface cool to the touch, the weight reassuringly solid. The patterns on its surface, worn smooth by the passage of time, evoke a sense of mystery, of distant echoes of lives lived and lost. They are fragments of a narrative, each piece incomplete, yet contributing to the larger, evolving story. The search for evidence of a mass migration is particularly challenging. The scale of such an event would leave a significant impact, one might imagine. Yet the archaeological record is surprisingly sparse. The evidence that exists is often indirect, open to multiple interpretations. A concentration of artifacts in a specific area could be attributed to a number of factors: a temporary settlement, a trading post, a natural accumulation over time. It is a puzzle with many pieces missing, and the existing ones, worn and weathered by time, offer only muted whispers of their origin. There are settlements dating back to the relevant period, however, they present the same challenge of interpretation. Their existence does not automatically confirm a connection to the Exodus narrative. They are silent witnesses, their stories only partially revealed, their secrets only gradually being unearthed by the careful hands of archaeologists, painstakingly piecing together fragments, building narratives from conjecture and fact. The process continues, slow and deliberate, much like the flow of the Nile itself. Each new discovery modifies the understanding, adding nuance and complexity to the existing interpretations. The possibility of a correlation between archaeological findings and the Exodus story remains open, a realm of both fascinating possibilities and frustrating unknowns. The night unfolds slowly, deliberately. The evidence remains inconclusive. Sleep now, and let the stillness of the night guide you to the shores of slumber. The waves of dreams beckon, inviting you to rest. The mysteries of the past can wait until tomorrow. For now, let the calm wash over you. Let sleep enfold you. The night is deep. The sea is calm. Sleep now. The night is deep. The scent of papyrus faint but persistent, a whisper from millennia past. We turn now to the papyrus scrolls, those fragile witnesses to ancient lives. Their brittle surfaces holding secrets whispered across time. The task before us is delicate, like tracing the veins of a leaf with a feather. We seek not grand pronouncements, but subtle hints, echoes of events perhaps lost to the broader narrative yet preserved in the margins of official records, in the mundane accounts of daily life. The Nile, a sluggish ribbon of dark water under the moon, mirrors the slow, deliberate pace of our investigation. Imagine the scribes, hunched over their work, the faint scratch of reed against papyrus, a constant companion in the dimly lit scriptorium. They recorded harvests, tax levies, the movements of troops, the construction of temples, the minutiae of a vast empire. Did they, amidst the bureaucratic details, ever record something different, something that hinted at the turmoil, the upheaval, the mass exodus described in later texts? The evidence, as always, is fragmented. We must piece together scattered fragments, like assembling a mosaic from countless tiny tesserae. We begin with the administrative records, the meticulous accounts kept by the Pharaoh's officials. We search for anomalies, unusual troop movements, unexplained absences from labor forces, disruptions to the established patterns of trade and taxation. The papyrus crackles softly under our fingertips, its surface smooth and cool. Yet the stories it contains can burn with the intensity of 1,000 suns. Consider the granaries, their stores meticulously documented. A sudden, inexplicable depletion of grain reserves might suggest a large-scale movement of people, a desperate flight from the land. Or perhaps a disruption to the irrigation system, a shift in the flow of the Nile itself, documented in surveyors' reports, could provide an indirect clue. These are not overt declarations, but rather subtle shifts in the data, faint tremors felt across the bureaucratic landscape of ancient Egypt. We move to the royal correspondence, the letters exchanged between pharaohs, officials, and foreign dignitaries. We search for coded messages, veiled references, perhaps a desperate plea for help from a besieged region, a report of unrest amongst the populace. The language is formal, the style precise, yet the spaces between the words offer room for interpretation, for the whisperings of unacknowledged events. The tomb inscriptions, too, offer a glimpse into the past, though often an idealized one. The boastful pronouncements of pharaohs, their claims of divine authority and military prowess, are frequently less than truthful, providing little of concrete historical value. Yet perhaps within these carefully crafted narratives, a subtle omission, a detail overlooked in the grand, self-aggrandizing pronouncements, may hint at the reality concealed beneath. The ostraca, fragments of pottery used as writing surfaces, offer a more casual, often personal insight into the lives of ordinary Egyptians. These are glimpses into daily life, unfiltered and unvarnished, often scratched hastily in moments of boredom or desperation. Here we might find an unguarded moment, a fleeting mention of a catastrophe, a rumor whispered between workers, a prayer for deliverance from hardship. The characters are crude, the ink faded, but the human emotions expressed are enduring. The search continues, slow and deliberate, each papyrus a new window into the past. The night deepens, the moon casting long shadows across the ancient scrolls. The evidence remains elusive, the answers hidden beneath layers of time and decay. Yet the process is itself a balm, a soothing rhythm that calms the mind and prepares it for sleep. The weight of history, though heavy, is also calming, a reminder of the passage of time, the vastness of the unknown. Let the calm of this careful search enfold you. Let sleep now claim you, as it has claimed the scribes and the pharaohs, and the civilizations that rose and fell like the tides of the restless sea. The secrets of the papyrus await, but rest now, and dream. The night is deep, the air is still. Sleep, sleep. The word itself is a balm, a gentle whisper against the rustling of the papyrus, and as sleep claims you, let us turn our attention to the whispers of a different kind, the whispers of the Nile, the whispers of the wind, the whispers of a land grappling with the inexplicable. We delve now into the 10 plagues, a narrative etched in memory, but also, perhaps, etched in the very fabric of the Nile Delta. The air hangs heavy with the scent of damp earth and decaying vegetation. The moon, a silent observer, casts its ethereal glow upon the scrolls before us, illuminating faded hieroglyphs that speak of rivers stained crimson, of darkness that blotted out the sun, and of swarms that darkened the sky. These are the plagues, events that reverberate through millennia, shaping religious beliefs and cultural narratives. But what if we were to view them not through the lens of divine wrath, but through the lens of natural phenomena, misinterpreted by a society grappling with the mysteries of the natural world? Consider the first plague, the Nile turning to blood. The reddish hue so vividly described could have been the result of a massive algal bloom, a proliferation of red pigmented microorganisms known to occur in bodies of water under specific conditions. Imagine the slow, unsettling change. The water darkening, the fish dying, the stench rising, a horrifying spectacle, easily attributed to divine intervention in a time lacking the scientific understanding to comprehend the underlying ecological processes. The texture of the papyrus beneath my fingertips seems to mirror the shifting, uncertain texture of the Nile itself, a river teeming with life one moment and death the next. The plague of frogs, next, a seemingly fantastical event, could be explained by the cyclical nature of frog populations. A perfect storm of weather conditions, perhaps unusually heavy rainfall followed by flooding, could have created a dramatic surge in frog numbers, leading to their inundation of settlements and homes. A terrifying and disruptive experience, easily perceived as a supernatural affliction. Feel the cool smoothness of the stone beneath your fingers. as smooth and cool as the Nile itself, before it turned to a putrid, reddish mass. Darkness, the third day of darkness, described as a palpable, all-consuming darkness. Could this be a more extreme version of a dust storm? A massive hubbub sweeping across the delta, plunging the land into an almost supernatural gloom? Picture the choking dust, the suffocating darkness, the world plunged into an oppressive night for 3 agonizing days and nights. The parchment here is thin and brittle, like the hope of those who lived through this. Let the darkness soothe you to sleep. And then, the swarms of insects, flies and locusts, the biblical images rendered in stark, faded lines. Climate change, changes in weather patterns, the shifting of the winds, all of these could have triggered these plagues. Imagine the relentless buzzing, the deafening chirping, the destructive power of ravenous swarms, the very air thick with the relentless buzzing of winged life. These are not figments of a feverish imagination, but the harsh realities of a land caught between the capricious nature of its own environment and the limitations of its understanding. The death of livestock, the boils, the hail, each plague, when examined through the lens of history and natural phenomena, unfolds as a complex interaction between environmental factors and human experience. It is not necessarily a battle between God and man, but instead the interplay between man's vulnerability and nature's power. The papyrus, cool and smooth against my fingertips, whispers of these realities that remain relevant even in our time. And so, as the night deepens and the moon casts its silent vigil over the ancient scrolls, let us accept that these interpretations are not definitive. The secrets of the past remain elusive, hidden behind layers of time and decay. But in this slow, deliberate exploration, in the very act of searching, lies a peace, a calm that can settle the heart and prepare the mind for rest. The answers, like the sands of the desert, shift and change, yet the process of seeking them is a balm, soothing the restless mind, guiding it towards slumber. Let the weight of history, heavy yet comforting, lull you into the quiet embrace of sleep. The night is deep, the air is still. Sleep, sleep. The scent of aged papyrus, faint yet persistent, mingles with the cool night air. It carries the whisper of ancient rituals, of lives lived and lost, of faith unwavering against the backdrop of an unforgiving desert. Tonight, we delve into the heart of the Pas Revirik, a ritual etched into the very fabric of a people's memory, a testament to resilience and hope. Imagine, if you will, the hushed anticipation of a spring evening. The air, still carrying the warmth of the day, is now infused with the subtle sweetness of blossoming acacia. Families gather, the flickering lamplight casting long, dancing shadows on the walls of mud-brick homes. The aroma of roasted lamb, a rich, earthy scent, fills the air, a comforting counterpoint to the lingering scent of hyssop, its herbaceous fragrance a reminder of purification and renewal. The Passover, far more than a simple meal, is a meticulous act of remembrance. Each step, each gesture, each whispered prayer carries the weight of centuries, a link in an unbroken chain connecting generations across the vast chasm of time. Consider the lamb, its unblemished fleece a symbol of sacrifice, its roasted flesh a communion with a shared past, a promise of deliverance. Its preparation is deliberate, slow, almost meditative, the careful slitting of the throat, the precise draining of the blood. Each action a symbolic act, laden with meaning. The blood itself is paramount. Applied to the doorposts and lintels, it serves as a mark of protection, a whispered plea for mercy against a force unseen, a force that demands recognition and respect. The deep crimson, rich and viscous, clinging to the rough-hewn wood, a potent symbol, a stark contrast against the pale ochre of the mud-brick walls. Feel the coolness of the night air against your skin as you visualize this scene. The quiet solemnity of the preparation, the shared anticipation hanging heavy in the air. The bitter herbs, their sharp, pungent aroma a reminder of the harshness of slavery, the unrelenting burden of toil, are meticulously placed on the table. Maror, they call it, a taste of suffering, a palpable reminder of the price paid for freedom. The matzah, unleavened bread, its simple, almost austere texture, a representation of the hasty exodus, the hurried departure with no time for the bread to rise. Feel the dryness of the matzah between your fingertips, its unyielding crispness mirroring the abruptness of their flight. The 4 cups of wine, each a symbol of a pivotal stage in the narrative of liberation, each sip a moment of reflection, a silent acknowledgement of the divine intervention. Their rich, dark ruby hue, a testament to the abundance of the land promised, a promise of a future unburdened by the bitter taste of oppression. Let the rich aroma of the wine lull you, its gentle sweetness a balm to the mind, calming the restless thoughts that plague the waking hours. The Seder, the ritual recounting of the Exodus, unfolds slowly, each word, each phrase, a stepping stone in a journey through time, a journey that bridges the past and the present, connecting the listener to the generations that came before. The story unfolds like a slow-moving river, its currents carrying the weight of history, its quiet murmurs, lulling you toward a peaceful slumber. The details of the Passover, painstakingly preserved across millennia, offer a glimpse into the complexities of human belief, into the enduring power of faith in the face of adversity. They speak of a deep-seated desire for freedom, a yearning for a future unburdened by the chains of oppression. These rituals, practiced with unwavering devotion, are more than just religious observances. They are testaments to the human spirit, to its resilience, its capacity for hope, its unwavering belief in a better tomorrow. And as you drift off to sleep, let the weight of this ancient history, this profound story, settle gently upon you, calming your mind, soothing your soul, carrying you to the peaceful embrace of slumber. The night is deep, the air is still. Sleep. The night whispers secrets to the wind, carrying the scent of sand and sea. And as the darkness deepens, we turn our attention to a different kind of parting, a parting of the waters, a geophysical puzzle etched into the sands of time. The story, as it reaches us across millennia, speaks of a sudden opening in the sea, a path revealed where before there was only water. This is not a simple tale of divine intervention, but rather a complex interplay of natural forces, a testament to the power of the earth itself. Imagine, if you will, the vast expanse of the shallows, the gentle lapping of waves against the shore. Feel the cool, damp air on your skin, the faint, salty tang on your tongue. The Red Sea, or perhaps what we now know as the Gulf of Suez, is not a uniform body of water. Its depths vary, its seabed a complex tapestry of shifting sands, hidden reefs, and unexpected channels. The tidal currents, subtle yet powerful, carve their paths through this underwater landscape, their rhythm a constant pulse beneath the surface. Consider the possibility of a strong, sustained wind, a Khamsin perhaps, a scorching desert wind capable of pushing back the waters, creating a temporary passage through the shallower parts. Picture the wind's relentless force, its howl, a mournful song across the dunes, its pressure building, pushing against the sea, sculpting the surface into temporary shapes. The effect wouldn't be a complete evacuation of the water, but rather a displacement, a shifting of the delicate balance of currents and depths, a temporary parting caused by the relentless push of nature. The seabed itself plays a vital role in this potential scenario. The ancient maps, the echoes of long-gone civilizations, offer tantalizing glimpses into the past geography of the region. They hint at the possibility of a narrow, shallow channel, a natural pathway carved by centuries of wind and water, a passage usually concealed beneath the surface, but capable of being revealed under specific, carefully aligned environmental conditions. The gentle shifting of sands, the erosion of coastal lines, the slow, deliberate work of the earth, all contribute to the complexity of the landscape. Now, envision a moon in its fullest phase, its gravitational pull exerting its influence on the tides, amplifying their effect, creating unusually high and low water marks. The timing, The precise confluence of celestial and terrestrial forces could have produced a more dramatic effect than usual, a more pronounced parting of the waters. The moon, a silent sentinel in the night sky, its light casting long shadows across the desert, plays its part in this intricate drama of nature. The story, passed down through generations, speaks of a rush of water closing in behind. This too could be explained by the nature of the tides. As the wind's effect subsides, the water naturally begins to return to its original state, the currents reclaiming their place. The speed of this return would depend on the depth of the channel, the strength of the currents, the angle of the wind. It would not be a gentle return, but a forceful one, a surge of water rushing back to fill the temporary vacuum created by nature's own momentary parting. The silence of the night, broken only by the whispers of the wind and the distant cry of a desert bird, amplifies the profound nature of this scene. The moon, the wind, the tides, the earth itself, these are the silent players in this geophysical drama. Their actions, their interactions, are not merely random events, but the result of meticulously observed natural laws, the intricate dance of forces that have shaped our world. As you listen to the rhythm of your own breath, feel the slow and steady beat of your heart. Let the quiet mystery of this ancient event calm your mind, lull you toward the peaceful embrace of slumber. The darkness deepens, the sea whispers its secrets to the sand. Sleep, the darkness deepens, mirroring the deepening mystery of the Pharaoh's pursuit. Imagine, if you will, the perspective of the Egyptian charioteers, their bronze-clad horses restless under the immense, star-studded canopy. The air, thick with the scent of dust and sweat, hangs heavy. The rhythmic thud of hooves on sand, a counterpoint to the whisper of the retreating tide, is the only sound that cuts through the stillness. They are not conquerors, not yet. They are pursuers, their mission shadowed by the uncertainty of the night and the vast, unknowable expanse of the sea. The moon, a pale disk in the inky sky, casts long, distorted shadows, transforming the familiar landscape into a surreal dreamscape. Each chariot, a mobile fortress of wood and bronze, carries its burden of heavily armed soldiers, the weight of their equipment, of expectation, of their pharaoh's command, presses down on them. The rhythmic creak of the wheels, a low, almost imperceptible groan, is the steady beat of their relentless advance. The logistical challenges faced by the pursuing army are immense, an intricate web of considerations barely hinted at in the fragmented whispers of ancient texts. Consider the sheer number of men and beasts involved, the chariots themselves, each requiring skilled drivers and warriors, the accompanying infantry, marching in disciplined formation, their bronze and leather shimmering faintly in the moonlight, their sandals leaving barely perceptible impressions in the firm sand. Picture their supply trains, lumbering lines of pack animals, burdened with provisions, water skins, sacks of grain, perhaps even spare weapons and equipment. The logistical nightmare of provisioning such a force across the harsh desert landscape would have been significant. Every ounce of water, every handful of grain carefully calculated and rationed. The terrain itself poses its own unique obstacles, the sand, shifting and unpredictable, capable of swallowing a chariot wheel whole and bringing the whole column to a grinding halt. The heat of the day, even under the cool of the night, would have been stifling, leaving the soldiers parched and weary. And then there's the sea, the vast, mysterious, and often unforgiving sea, the very element that has, in a manner that defies easy explanation, parted to allow the Israelites passage, now presents itself as an insurmountable barrier, its dark, shifting surface reflecting the uncertain fate of the pursuing army. They had not accounted for this. Their knowledge, however extensive, their military prowess, however formidable, could not anticipate the unpredictable whims of nature. The officers, their faces etched with concern, would have been constantly assessing the situation, weighing the risks and adjusting their strategies. Their voices, hushed yet firm, would have guided their men. The weight of command, the responsibility for the lives of hundreds, even thousands, would have weighed heavily on their shoulders. Imagine the exhaustion settling over them as the hours crawl by, the relentless march, the burden of their armor and weapons, the endless expanse of desert under a sky that offers no solace. The thirst, the ever-present thirst, must have been a gnawing constant. Each movement, each breath, a conscious effort against the fatigue that threatens to overwhelm them. Their hope, tied to the pursuit itself, is a fragile thing, built upon the assumption of power, of dominance, of unwavering control. That control, however, is slipping. The very elements they presume to command are now arrayed against them, a silent, powerful force that threatens to swallow them whole. The moon climbs higher, its light casting a cold, almost skeletal light across the desolate scene. The air is still, heavy with the unspoken questions hanging over the weary soldiers. As the sand whispers secrets to the wind, the rhythmic thump of the horse's hooves fades ever so slightly. It is a diminuendo played on the edge of darkness, the approaching crescendo of a different kind of historical moment. The exhaustion, the uncertainty, and the weight of their mission settle upon them like the desert dust, blurring the line between reality and the dream of an impossible pursuit. The silence deepens. Sleep. The silence deepens, a vast encompassing blanket woven from the stillness of the night and the weariness of the men. The air, thick with the scent of desert dust and the faint metallic tang of sweat and fear, hangs heavy in their lungs. Each breath is a slow, deliberate act, a conscious effort against the encroaching tide of exhaustion. The rhythmic thud of hooves, once a steady beat against the backdrop of the night, has dwindled to a near imperceptible whisper, the sound swallowed by the immensity of the desert. The moon, a pale disk in the inky sky, casts long, skeletal shadows that dance and writhe with the subtle movement of the wind. These shadows stretch and twist, mimicking the uneasy feelings that stir within the ranks of the soldiers. The sand, fine and shifting, whispers secrets only the wind can understand, a constant, rustling murmur that lulls the senses into a state of subdued alertness. The journey has been long, arduous, each step taken in the face of uncertainty and looming danger. The landscape, once a hostile expanse of unforgiving terrain, now appears almost surreal in the soft glow of the moon. The dunes, sculpted by the wind over centuries, appear as sleeping giants, their forms shifting and changing under the moon's pale light. The slow, deliberate movement of the horses continues, each step measured and precise. The men are exhausted, their bodies aching with the strain of the relentless march, yet they persevere. The weight of their mission, the weight of their history, rests heavily upon their shoulders. They are not merely soldiers. They are the carriers of a legacy, the inheritors of a belief. The burden is palpable, almost tangible, like the fine layer of desert dust clinging to their clothes, to their hair, to their very skin. The water skins are nearly empty, the precious liquid a source of both sustenance and anxiety. Each sip is savored, a mindful act in the face of dwindling resources. The sounds of nature, the whispers of the wind, the subtle shifting of sand, the occasional cry of a nocturnal bird, are magnified in the vast silence of the desert, creating an auditory landscape both beautiful and unsettling. The air grows cooler as the night progresses, a subtle change that is nonetheless noticeable. The temperature drops gradually, a welcome respite from the scorching heat of the day. The chill seeps into their bones, a reminder of their vulnerability, of their precarious position. They move forward as if propelled by an unseen force, a silent momentum that carries them through the darkness. Ahead, in the distance, a faint glimmer appears on the horizon, a shimmering reflection that seems to dance and shift in the ever-changing play of light and shadow. Is it a mirage, born of dehydration and exhaustion, or is it the promise of something more? The glimmer grows larger, steadier, gradually resolving itself into the shape of a body of water, dark and mysterious under the moon's gaze. The pace of the horses slows even further, their movement now barely more than a crawl. The anticipation is almost unbearable, the tension a palpable presence in the air. A sigh, almost imperceptible, escapes the lips of one of the soldiers, a sound lost in the whispering sands. This is not a race, not a sprint. This is a slow, deliberate approach to the precipice of an unknown future, a measured descent towards a moment that will alter their history forever. The water grows closer, the darkness between them and their destination shrinking with each measured stride. The end, the promised respite, is almost within reach. The weight of their journey, though still heavy, feels infinitesimally lighter, eased by the promise of what lies ahead. The crossing begins. The first splashes are barely audible, a soft susurrus against the hushed expectancy. The water, initially cool against the heated hooves, deepens gradually. The horses, sensing the change, tread with even greater care, their movements deliberate and measured. Each step is a careful negotiation, a silent conversation between the animal and the shifting depths beneath. The night air, heavy with the scent of brine and damp earth, clings to their coats. The moon, a silent witness, casts long dancing shadows across the waters, making the surface seem to ripple and breathe with a life of its own. The crossing is not swift. It is a slow, deliberate immersion, a gradual surrender to the embrace of the sea. The water rises slowly, inch by agonizing inch, creeping up the flanks of the steeds, seeping into the folds of their riders' garments. The weight of the water, at first a gentle pressure, becomes steadily more insistent, a tangible burden against their weary bodies. The silence, punctuated only by the occasional sigh of the wind and the soft lapping of water, is profound, amplifying the rhythmic cadence of hooves and the steady, almost imperceptible rise and fall of chests. There are no shouts, no cries of alarm, only the measured rhythm of the crossing. This is not a chaotic flight, but a ritualistic passage, a slow descent into the heart of the unknown. This is a mirroring, perhaps, of the narratives themselves. Some speak of a swift and overwhelming catastrophe, a sudden and terrifying annihilation. Others, however, depict a more protracted event, a gradual submersion, perhaps even a series of setbacks and retreats over time. Could the drowning have been less a single cataclysmic event and more a series of unfortunate occurrences compounded by the natural forces of a hostile environment? Consider the historical parallels. The ancient world was rife with stories of great floods, inundations that reshaped landscapes and obliterated entire settlements. The Nile itself, life-giving and destructive, periodically overflowed its banks, causing devastation and displacement. Perhaps the narrative of the drowning reflects not a singular act of divine wrath, but a confluence of environmental factors, a culmination of hardship and misfortune in a challenging landscape, a gradual, agonizing decline rather than a swift, dramatic end. The historians of the time, often chroniclers tied to the very powers they recorded, might have embellished or interpreted events to better suit the prevailing narratives. Their accounts are filtered through the lens of their own biases, their personal experiences, and the socio-political climate of their time. Even the most meticulous records are incomplete, pieces of a much larger, fragmented puzzle. Details are often lost. Context is obscured by the passage of time, leading to differing interpretations. Imagine the scene, not a raging tempest, but a heavy downpour, softening the ground, making travel precarious. A sudden storm, perhaps, causing confusion and disorientation. The rising tide, not as a result of divine intervention, but simply a natural consequence of seasonal fluctuations. The difficulties faced would be compounded by exhaustion, hunger, and the psychological strain of displacement and uncertainty. The details become crucial to understanding the event not as a divine intervention, but as a culmination of human and natural elements. The water continues to rise. The horses, with their heads bowed low, their bodies submerged up to their chests, continue their slow, deliberate advance. The riders, silent, maintain their grim determination, their faces etched with fatigue, their eyes fixed on the far shore, which now seems impossibly distant. This measured pace, this painstaking progression, echoes the meticulous work of the archaeologist, slowly uncovering layer upon layer of the past, patiently assembling the fragments of a broken story, seeking not a simple answer, but a multifaceted understanding. The end is near, the water lapping at their shoulders, a final, gentle immersion, and in that immersion, perhaps, lies the true nature of the drowning. Not a single, catastrophic event, but a complex interplay of human error and natural forces. A story slowly unfolding, piece by piece, under the watchful gaze of the silent moon. And in that immersion, perhaps, lies the true nature of the drowning. Not a single catastrophic event, but a complex interplay of human error and natural forces. A story slowly unfolding, piece by piece, under the watchful gaze of the silent moon. The water closes over them, a cool, embracing darkness. The sounds of the night, the whisper of the wind through the reeds, the rhythmic lapping of the waves, become a lullaby, a gentle soundtrack to their final moments. The memory of their struggles fades, replaced by a profound stillness. The aftermath, like the receding tide, left its mark indelibly on the sands of time. Imagine, if you will, the vastness of the Nile Delta, its fertile lands scarred by the passage of such a multitude. The whispers of the event would have spread through the villages like the slow creep of the encroaching desert, each tale adding a layer of embellishment, a subtle shift in emphasis, until the narrative transformed into something almost mythical. The official records, if any survived the chaos, would likely have painted a picture far different from the dramatic accounts that would emerge centuries later. For the Egyptian scribes, the focus would have been on the pragmatic, the loss of livestock, the disruption of trade routes, the damage to the agricultural infrastructure. The accounts would have dealt in figures, in bushels of grain lost, in the number of laborers displaced, in the disruption of the crucial annual flooding cycle. Their meticulous records, inscribed on papyrus and meticulously stored within the cool, dry chambers of the archive, would tell a story of economic hardship and social upheaval, a story stripped of the divine retribution and miraculous interventions that would later become woven into the fabric of the narrative. Political impact would have been equally profound. The Pharaoh, whether a benevolent ruler or a ruthless tyrant, would have faced a crisis of immense proportions. His authority, built upon the stability of the land and the prosperity of his people, would have been tested. The loss of life, the economic devastation, would have placed immense pressure on the already complex machinery of state. Did he order investigations attempting to assign blame and find solutions? Were there public works projects undertaken to repair the damage, restore the irrigation canals, and rebuild the shattered lives? We may never know the details, but the cracks appearing in the facade of absolute power, even if quickly patched, would have been perceptible. The years that followed would have been a period of gradual healing, a slow, painful process of rebuilding. The memory of the catastrophe, however, would have been preserved, not in grand monuments or triumphant inscriptions, but in the quiet rituals of remembrance, in the whispered cautionary tales passed down through generations, in the subtle shifts in social structures, in the pragmatic adjustments made to agricultural practices to prevent a similar disaster. Consider the psychological impact on the survivors. The trauma of witnessing such a devastating event, the loss of loved ones, the sheer terror of the engulfing waters. These would have left their scars, buried deep beneath the surface of everyday life. The collective memory, a powerful force capable of shaping entire cultures, would have been indelibly marked. The nightmares would have been shared, the anxieties passed down from parents to children. A certain vulnerability would have been etched into the very soul of the society, a constant low hum of apprehension that would serve as a silent testament to the night the sea claimed its due. The physical remnants, the scattered debris, the bones bleached white by the sun, the eroded marks on the ancient shoreline, would have slowly been absorbed back into the earth, the slow, relentless work of time erasing the immediate evidence of the event. But the story, like the tenacious roots of the papyrus plant, would continue to grow, adapting and evolving, its form constantly changing, its essence somehow preserved. It would be whispered on the wind, etched into the very fabric of history, a cautionary tale, a silent testament to the power of both nature and human fallibility, a testament to the fragility of human constructs when pitted against the unrelenting forces of the world. And the moon, ever watchful, continued its silent vigil, a witness to the ebb and flow of civilizations, the silent keeper of secrets both grand and small. And so the survivors, diminished in number, began their arduous journey. The sun, a relentless eye in the vast unforgiving sky, beat down upon them. The air, thick with the scent of sun-baked earth and the faint, acrid tang of salt carried on the desert wind, shimmered with heat. Each step was a test of endurance. The the fine sand yielding underfoot, only to immediately reclaim its place, swallowing the imprint of their passage. The pace was slow, deliberate, dictated not by ambition but by necessity. Their days unfolded in a rhythm dictated by the sun's journey across the sky. The slow, creeping dawn, painting the eastern horizon in shades of rose and gold, heralded the beginning of their trek. The midday sun, a blazing inferno, forced them to seek refuge in the meager shade offered by the occasional rocky outcrop or the sparse, thorny scrub. The evening, a gradual cooling of the air, a softening of the light, provided a brief respite before the chill of the desert night descended. The sounds of their journey were as muted as the landscape was vast. The soft crunch of sand underfoot, the occasional rustle of wind through the sparse vegetation, the weary sighs of their burdened companions. These were the quiet accompaniments to their slow, deliberate progress. Silence, punctuated only by the sounds of survival, dominated their days, a pervasive quietude that settled deep into their bones. Water, the lifeblood of their journey, was a constant source of anxiety. Each precious drop was rationed, measured, and consumed with a solemnity that belied its simple nature. The taste of the water, often brackish and warm, was a reminder of their precarious existence, a constant counterpoint to the harshness of their surroundings. The search for water sources became a ritual, a slow and cautious exploration of the arid landscape, marked by the hushed whispers and the hopeful glances exchanged amongst the weary travelers. Their food, too, was sparse. The meager rations, carefully conserved, were a testament to their planning and resourcefulness. Dates, dried figs, and the occasional roasted bird provided sustenance, their taste a distant memory of a life less harsh. The slow process of consuming these precious morsels was an act of mindful survival, each bite a deliberate act of preservation. The nights, though offering a release from the sun's relentless glare, brought their own challenges. The desert chill, a stark contrast to the daytime heat, penetrated even the thickest wraps. The vast, star-studded sky, a breathtaking spectacle, offered little comfort against the cold. The silence of the night, broken only by the occasional cry of a nocturnal creature, was often more oppressive than the sounds of the day. Sleep, even in the depths of exhaustion, was a fitful, restless companion. The landscape itself presented obstacles. Sandstorms, sudden and fierce, tested their resilience. The shifting sands, creating treacherous dunes and hidden ravines, forced them to proceed with caution, every step a potential hazard. The slow, deliberate movement became a necessary adaptation, a survival mechanism that allowed them to navigate the unpredictable nature of their environment. And so, day after day, week after week, their journey continued, a slow, measured progression across the desolate expanse. The sun, the wind, the sand, the stars. These were their constant companions, silent witnesses to their slow, arduous struggle for survival. The landscape itself, a vast canvas of browns, golds, and ochre, bore silent testimony to the human spirit's tenacity, its remarkable ability to endure even in the face of seemingly insurmountable odds. A journey, slow as the relentless creep of the desert sands, etched itself into their very beings, leaving an indelible mark on their bodies, their minds, and their collective memory. The moon, a silent observer, continued its celestial dance, a constant reminder of the cyclical nature of life and loss, of hope and despair, of survival in the face of seemingly endless challenges. The whispering sands, ever shifting, held secrets older than the oldest pyramids. As the moon waxed and waned, casting its silvery light upon the weary travelers, a new layer of experience settled upon their souls. It wasn't just the physical journey that shaped them, it was the intangible, the gradual accretion of faith and belief. Their shared hardship, the constant struggle against the elements, forged a bond, a shared understanding of reliance that transcended the individual. This was a belief not in gods of stone and gold, but in the resilience of the human spirit, a faith solidified in the shared act of enduring. Each sunrise a renewed promise, each sunset a testament to their perseverance. The stories they told around dwindling fires, stories of hardship, resilience, and the hope for a better future, became interwoven with their beliefs, forming a tapestry of faith uniquely shaped by their experiences. The stars, so vast and distant, became a symbol of the immeasurable power that guided them, a silent witness to their unwavering spirit. They saw patterns in the constellations, weaving narratives of their own making, finding comfort and guidance in the celestial dance. Generations later, these narratives transformed. The harsh realities of their journey were softened by the passage of time, adorned with layers of cultural interpretation and embellishment. The desert became a place of divine testing, the sun a fiery gaze of a vengeful god, and the miraculous survival a testament to divine favor. The stories of their escape morphed, their journey reinterpreted through the lens of various faiths and belief systems. In one culture, the parting of the waters became a divine act, a miraculous intervention showcasing the power of a vengeful god enacting justice. The sea, a monstrous being, obedient to the will of the heavens. The journey became a sacred pilgrimage, each step hallowed ground, the survivors' chosen people, guided by the hand of God. Their exodus became a foundational myth, shaping their laws, their customs, their very identity. Their faith became as integral to their story as the sand itself. In another culture, the journey was viewed through a lens of human resilience, a testament to the ability of a people to overcome adversity. The story of their survival became a potent symbol of hope and courage, a beacon of inspiration for oppressed people across the ages. The hardships they faced were seen not as divine punishment, but as the crucible that forged their collective identity. The sea, a formidable obstacle, became a symbol of the challenges that they, as a collective, managed to overcome. Their faith was a faith in their own capacity for endurance. The interpretations, diverse as the cultures themselves, are a testament to the malleability of memory, the ever-shifting sands of time. One could trace the threads of the narrative, its evolution from a recounting of a difficult journey to a complex tapestry of theological interpretations and cultural symbolism. Each retelling, a new layer of meaning, each embellishment a reflection of the worldview of those recounting the story. The names of the deities and the specific details may shift, but the core narrative, the journey, the survival remains. A constant reminder of the powerful human capacity to endure and create meaning from hardship. The wind whispers across the sands, carrying with it the echoes of countless voices, each interpreting the story in their own way, imbuing it with their own beliefs and cultural context. The moon, a constant, silent observer, casts its light upon this ever-evolving narrative, a testament to the enduring power of story and the human need to imbue meaning in the face of the unknown. The sands, ever shifting, bury and reveal, hinting at layers of understanding far deeper than what can be excavated. And so, under the quiet gaze of the moon and the whispering winds of time, the story continues, shifting, changing, evolving, ever a reflection of the faiths and beliefs of those who carry it forward. The journey itself a testament to human resilience, to the unwavering human spirit and the comforting power of belief. And so, the whispers of the wind carry us to other shores, other interpretations, other lenses through which to view the shimmering mirage of the Exodus. The sands, those tireless storytellers, hold within their grains not just one narrative, but a multitude, layered like the strata of the earth itself. Consider for a moment the possibility that the sea was not the vast expanse of the Red Sea, but a smaller, more contained body of water, perhaps a reed-choked marsh or even a particularly treacherous section of the Nile itself, swollen with the annual flood. The reeds, tall and dense, could have easily concealed a pursuing army, creating the illusion of a miraculous parting. Imagine the weight of the sun, heavy and oppressive on the backs of weary travelers. Feel the dampness of the marsh air clinging to your skin, the scent of decaying vegetation mingling with the dust of the road. Hear the frantic calls of birds startled by the sudden movement, a counterpoint to the hushed whispers of fear and hope amongst the fleeing people. The water, murky and deep, a deceptive mirror reflecting the anxious faces staring back. Such a crossing would be perilous, fraught with the risk of drowning, yet still less miraculous, less outwardly divine than the parting of a vast sea. Let us consider the narrative from a purely sociological perspective. The Exodus story, laden with symbolism, could represent not a literal escape, but a metaphorical one. The escape from oppression, from bondage, from a rigid social structure. Perhaps the Pharaoh was not a single tyrannical ruler, but the collective power of the established order, the rigid societal hierarchies that held a people captive. The Red Sea then becomes a symbol of the barriers, both physical and societal, that must be overcome to achieve freedom. Picture the slow, deliberate chipping away of those barriers, the subtle acts of defiance woven into the fabric of daily life. Each whispered prayer, each shared loaf of bread, each small act of solidarity, a tiny stone added to the wall that eventually crumbles under its own weight. The crossing becomes less of a dramatic escape and more of a gradual, painstaking journey towards emancipation, a testament to the unwavering human spirit's capacity to overcome adversity. And what of the plagues? Were they truly supernatural events? Or were they perhaps a consequence of environmental factors, exacerbated by the societal and political tensions of the time? A prolonged drought, for instance, could lead to crop failure, famine, and disease, creating social unrest and weakening the power of the ruling class. The Nile, the lifeblood of Egypt, could have been affected by a shift in its course or a period of exceptionally low water levels, causing economic and ecological disruption. The plagues, viewed through this lens, become not divine acts of punishment, but rather the harsh realities of a struggling civilization. The very act of remembering, of retelling, of interpreting the story is a powerful act in itself. Over millennia, the tale has been molded and reshaped, its meaning imbued with the cultural and religious values of each successive generation. Think of the countless scribes, meticulously copying and recopying the text, each one adding their own subtle interpretation, their own unconscious biases. Imagine the rabbis, the priests, the scholars, each poring over the ancient texts, debating and arguing, refining and reinterpreting the meaning. The sands of time themselves contribute to the ambiguity. The very process of transmitting information from one generation to the next leads to inevitable changes and alterations. Words are lost, details are altered, interpretations shift. The story becomes less a factual account and more a living, breathing testament to the enduring power of narrative, the human need to find meaning in the face of the unknown, the strength found in sharing, and the continued hope for the future. The story, in its multiple interpretations, becomes a repository of human experience, a reflection of our hopes and fears, our resilience and our faith. The moon hangs heavy in the night sky, its silent gaze a witness to the endless unfolding of this ever-shifting story, a reminder that even in the face of seemingly clear narratives, the truths that lie within often remain shrouded in mystery, waiting to be unearthed, layer by layer, grain by grain. And so, the moon, a silent observer, guides us to another layer of this ancient tapestry, woven with threads of exodus and escape, not unique to the narrative of the Israelites. The desert wind, whispering through the sands, carries echoes of other journeys, other struggles, other escapes from oppression. Let us then turn our attention to the wider landscape of ancient Near Eastern narratives, seeking points of resonance and divergence with the story that has captivated and challenged us for millennia. Consider the tale of the Amorites, their migrations across Mesopotamia, their clashes with established powers, their eventual settlements in Canaan. Their story, etched onto clay tablets and whispered across generations, mirrors certain aspects of the Exodus narrative: the arduous journey, the struggle for survival against the elements and hostile forces, the longing for a promised land. These are themes that resonate across cultures and time, yet the specifics differ. The Amorite migrations were gradual, a slow, creeping advance, rather than the sudden, dramatic flight depicted in the Exodus story. The conflicts were less about divine intervention and more about strategic alliances and power struggles. Think of the Akkadian Empire, its rise and fall, its vast dominion stretching across Mesopotamia. Here, too, we find echoes of the Exodus narrative, the oppression of subject peoples, the rebellion against a powerful ruler, the establishment of independent kingdoms. These are common threads woven into the fabric of ancient Near Eastern history. However, the Akkadian Empire's decline was a slow, drawn-out process, a gradual erosion of power rather than a swift liberation through miraculous intervention. The texture of their fall is different from the Exodus narrative's more abrupt exodus. Let us turn our gaze to the Hittite Empire. Their formidable strength, their intricate bureaucracy, their vast network of trade routes. The Hittites, too, engaged in conflicts, expanded their territories, absorbed and assimilated different cultures. Their narratives, carved into stone, speak of battles and sieges, of alliances and betrayals, of the constant shifting sands of power in the ancient world. One might find similarities in the challenges faced, the need to establish a new identity, to secure resources, to navigate the complexities of political alliances. However, the Hittite texts speak less of a singular, divinely ordained liberation, and more of pragmatic political maneuvering and strategic military campaigns. Their stories echo in the sounds of clashing bronze, a different melody to the Exodus narrative. The subtle differences in the narrative structures are as telling as the similarities. The Exodus story, with its emphasis on divine intervention and miraculous events, stands in contrast to the more pragmatic and earthly accounts found in other ancient Near Eastern narratives. The emphasis on the divine covenant, the specific role of a chosen people, the miraculous parting of the sea, these elements are less prominent in the chronicles of the Amorites, the Akkadis, or the Hittites. The weight of the narratives themselves differs. One feels the heavy weight of divinity in the Exodus narrative, a profound and awe-inspiring power shaping the events. The other narratives, though significant, possess a more grounded, almost mundane, human quality, less reliant on divine intervention. The scent of papyrus and clay tablets, the feel of ancient stone under our fingertips, these sensory experiences draw us closer to understanding the nuances of these narratives, each a unique reflection of its time and context. The darkness of the night, the quiet whispers of the wind, enhance the subtle distinctions between these tales of migration and conflict. Each story, meticulously pieced together, reveals facets of the human experience, shaping our understanding of the past, one grain of sand at a time. As the moon continues its silent watch, we begin to discern a clearer picture, not of one singular truth, but of a tapestry rich with many threads, each contributing to the overall design. The soft sounds of the night lull us deeper into this historical contemplation, reminding us of the ever-flowing river of time, carrying the echoes of countless stories. The echoes of countless stories, carried on the night wind, lead us now to a closer examination of the Exodus narrative itself. Let us, as careful archaeologists of the written word, delve into the text, not to seek a singular, definitive truth, but to appreciate the artistry of its construction, the subtle shifts in tone, the carefully chosen words that shape our understanding. Imagine, if you will, the scribe, painstakingly crafting each character on the papyrus, the faint scent of the reed lingering in the air, the soft scratch of his stylus, a hypnotic rhythm in the quiet chamber. The repetition, so often dismissed as simplistic, becomes a powerful tool in our hands. Observe the recurring motifs, the cyclical nature of the plagues, mirroring the cyclical nature of the Nile's flood and recession, the life-giving and life-taking aspects of the river itself, intertwining within the narrative. These repetitions aren't mere redundancy, they are carefully placed anchors, grounding the story, making it resonate deeper within the listener's soul, just as the rhythm of the waves against the shore creates a calming effect on our minds. Notice the shifts in perspective. The narrative voice moves fluidly, sometimes from the omniscient perspective of a storyteller, painting the grand sweep of events, other times immersing us in the immediate experience of Moses, his anxieties, his doubts, his unwavering faith, or perhaps the faith attributed to him by the later generations of storytellers. This fluidity, this subtle interplay between distance and intimacy, adds layers of complexity, inviting us to question, to interpret, to engage actively with the text. Feel the weight of history in these words, the echoes of countless retellings, each adding its own nuance, its own layer of meaning. The use of metaphor and simile is remarkably subtle, often woven seamlessly into the fabric of the narrative. The comparison of the Israelites to a flock of sheep guided by their shepherd speaks not only of their vulnerability, but also of their dependence on divine guidance. Consider the imagery of the burning bush, a symbol of both divine power and the transformative potential of faith. The slow burn of the bush, the steady crackling of the flames. These sensory details evoke not only a visual image, but also a powerful emotional response. Let us consider the structure itself. The Exodus narrative isn't simply a linear progression of events. It's a carefully constructed narrative arc, with rising tension, a climactic confrontation, and a triumphant resolution. The plagues, each escalating in intensity, build a sense of dread, a palpable anticipation of the final confront. The parting of the Red Sea, a moment of incredible power and spectacle, serves as the narrative's apex, a pivotal moment that shifts the balance of power irrevocably. The subsequent journey through the wilderness, with its trials and tribulations, provides a space for reflection, a period of testing both for the Israelites and for their faith. The language itself is evocative, rich with imagery that appeals to multiple senses. The descriptions of the plagues are vivid and visceral, appealing to our sense of sight, smell, and even touch. Imagine the stench of death hanging in the air, the stifling darkness of the thickest darkness, the chilling cold of the hail, and the devastation left in the wake of the plagues. Feel the weight of the stones on Moses' hands, the weariness in his body. These are not simply abstract events, they are experiences, intensely real, even across the vast gulf of time. Furthermore, the narrative's use of dialogue is minimal but impactful. Moses' interactions with Pharaoh, brief yet charged with tension, highlight the clash between divine will and human authority. The dialogue is sparse, yet every word carries immense weight, mirroring the gravity of the situation. Each interaction is a pivotal moment, shaping the trajectory of the narrative. As we dissect the literary architecture of the Exodus narrative, we uncover not just a story, but a carefully crafted work of art, a testament to the power of storytelling. The repetition, the shifts in perspective, the evocative imagery, the deliberate pacing, all contribute to the narrative's enduring power and its ability to resonate with readers and listeners across millennia. The quiet whispers of the night, the rhythmic lapping of waves, and even now, the quiet turning of pages in this imaginary scroll, all contribute to our deepening appreciation of the subtle mastery at play within this timeless tale. The layers of meaning unfurl like a scroll, revealing the history within the historical context, and as the moon completes its silent journey across the night sky, we find ourselves lulled into a state of peaceful contemplation, the story's enduring power weaving itself into the fabric of our dreams. And from the quiet contemplation of the narrative's subtle artistry, we turn now to its enduring legacy, a ripple effect stretching across cultures and centuries. The story of the Exodus, a tale whispered across generations, has woven itself into the very fabric of human experience, its echoes reverberating in diverse faiths and traditions. Imagine, if you will, the hushed tones of ancient scribes meticulously copying the text onto papyrus, their quills scratching a rhythmic counterpoint to the night's soft breath. Consider the ancient Israelites, their collective memory shaping their identity, their national consciousness, bound to this narrative of liberation and divine intervention. The Passover Seder, a yearly ritual passed down through millennia, becomes a tangible manifestation of this enduring legacy. The breaking of the matzah, the recounting of the story, the bitter herbs, all serve as sensory anchors, linking each generation to the remembered exodus from bondage. The taste of freedom, sharp and bittersweet, lingers on the tongue, a taste passed down through time. But the influence of the Exodus narrative extends far beyond the Jewish people. Early Christian theologians, for example, found in the story of liberation a compelling parallel to their own beliefs. The Exodus became a prefiguration of Christ's redemption, a foreshadowing of the liberation offered through faith. The imagery of the parting of the Red Sea found its resonance in the symbolic crossing from death to life, from sin to salvation. Feel the gentle weight of the ancient texts in your hands, the parchment cool against your fingertips, as you imagine the careful copying, the devout preservation of these sacred words. The impact of the Exodus story is evident in the artistic expressions inspired by it, from ancient frescoes depicting the Israelites' journey to contemporary paintings capturing the dramatic crossing of the sea. The narrative's power to visually stir the soul remains undeniable. Close your eyes and picture these scenes: the vibrant colors of the desert sun, the deep blues and greens of the encroaching waters, the expressions of awe and fear on the faces of the fleeing Israelites. These visual elements all contribute to the story's powerful and enduring presence in the human imagination. The legacy of the Exodus also resonates in the realm of music. The haunting melodies of traditional Jewish chants and the soaring anthems of choral works composed across centuries all bear witness to the story's profound musical influence. Let the sound of these melodies wash over you now, a gentle hypnotic wave, calming and soothing. Imagine the slow, deliberate rhythm of the ancient chants, their tones rich with the weight of history and faith. Even in contemporary literature and film, the Exodus story continues to inspire. The narrative's themes of oppression, liberation, and the search for freedom continue to resonate in our world, providing a framework through which we understand our own struggles and aspirations. Let the quiet whispers of these modern interpretations lull you into a deeper state of relaxation. Beyond its religious and artistic manifestations, the Exodus narrative has permeated the social and political landscape. The story has served as a source of inspiration for numerous movements for social justice and liberation. The idea of a people escaping oppression to build a new life has offered hope and encouragement to countless individuals and groups fighting for their own freedom and dignity. The story's enduring power, therefore, extends to a profound sense of shared human experience, a quiet recognition of shared struggles, and the eternal pursuit of justice and liberation. The study of the Exodus story, therefore, is not merely an academic exercise. It is a journey through human history, faith, and aspiration. It is a testament to the power of storytelling and the enduring human need for hope and redemption. As the night deepens and the world outside falls silent, allow the quiet whisper of this ancient narrative to guide you into a peaceful and restful sleep. The weight of history gently eases away, the sounds of the night melting into the deep calm of slumber. The waves softly crash against the shore, the desert winds are stilled. Sleep now, and let the echoes of the Exodus resonate in the tranquil depths of your dreams. The echoes of the Exodus fade, replaced by the gentle surus of the Nile, a constant companion to the unfolding of time. We leave behind the whispers of ancient texts and the interpretations of countless generations, turning now to the tangible evidence, the silent witnesses unearthed from the sands themselves. Modern archaeology, with its meticulous tools and ever-evolving techniques, offers a new perspective, a different lens through which to view this ancient narrative. Consider the painstaking excavation of ancient settlements, the careful brushing away of millennia of dust to reveal the remnants of daily life, pottery shards hinting at trade routes and cultural exchange, tools worn smooth by countless hands speak of the labor and ingenuity of those who lived and worked the land. The very foundations of buildings, their stones patiently revealing the layout of homes, temples, and marketplaces, slowly paint a picture of a society vibrant and complex, existing long before the written word attempted to capture its essence. These discoveries, though not directly linked to a specific event like the Exodus, offer a crucial context. They reveal the realities of ancient Egyptian society, its social structures, its economic systems, its strengths, and its vulnerabilities. We find evidence of periods of prosperity and periods of hardship, of societal shifts and upheavals. This allows us to consider the plausibility of a large-scale exodus, examining the logistical challenges, the potential impact on the Egyptian economy, and the overall societal disruption such an event might entail. Recent geophysical surveys, utilizing advanced technologies like ground-penetrating radar, have allowed archaeologists to explore vast areas with unprecedented detail. These non-invasive techniques reveal subsurface features, suggesting the locations of settlements, irrigation systems, and even potential burial grounds. The images produced are like ghostly echoes of the past, revealing the subtle traces of a vanished world. These echoes, when combined with other archaeological findings, begin to form a more complete, if still fragmented, picture of life in ancient Egypt. The analysis of ancient DNA, a relatively recent development, offers another fascinating avenue of exploration. By extracting and analyzing genetic material from ancient remains, scientists can trace the movements of populations over time, identify genetic links between different groups, and reconstruct past migratory patterns. While the connection to the Exodus narrative remains indirect, this research can shed light on the broader patterns of population movement in the region, helping us to understand the dynamism of ancient societies and the potential for large-scale migrations. The study of ancient inscriptions and hieroglyphs continues to yield new insights. While the textual evidence related directly to the Exodus story remains debated, the careful study of other inscriptions provides crucial information about Egyptian governance, warfare, and societal responses to crises, and this allows us to contextualize the narrative within the broader historical and political landscape of ancient Egypt, helping us to understand the possible motivations behind the actions described in the Exodus story and the potential repercussions within Egyptian society. Let the image of a seasoned archaeologist meticulously brushing away the dust from a fragile artifact fill your mind. Feel the coolness of the desert night as the starlight illuminates the careful work. Hear the gentle scraping of tools, the soft whispers of conversation among the team, as they reveal secrets buried for millennia. The weight of history, once overwhelming, becomes manageable. A collection of small, carefully considered details, each contributing to a larger picture, a story slowly unfolding under the vast, silent sky. Let the rhythmic sound of your own breath now guide you into the deep stillness of sleep. The sands of time settle, the past fades into the gentle darkness. Sleep now. The desert air, cool against the skin, carries the scent of dust and distant tamarisks. The starlight, a million tiny pinpricks in the velvet cloth of night, reflects in the polished surface of a scarab beetle, carefully unearthed, its iridescent shell gleaming faintly. We have journeyed far, haven't we? Through centuries of whispers, through layers of sediment and shifting sands, through conflicting accounts and fragmented memories. We've traced the path of a narrative, a story etched in stone and sung in songs, a tale that has shaped beliefs and fueled conflicts for millennia. The Exodus story, as we've explored it, resists easy categorization. It isn't a simple historical event neatly documented in an official record. It's a tapestry woven from threads of faith, legend, and the echoes of a complex past. The physical evidence, the archaeological remains offer tantalizing glimpses, but they remain fragmented, incomplete, inviting multiple interpretations. The very nature of history demands humility. We can reconstruct, we can analyze, we can offer plausible scenarios, but the definitive answers often remain elusive. Consider the human element, the beating heart at the center of this ancient narrative. Pharaohs, powerful and seemingly immortal, are rendered vulnerable. Slaves, oppressed and marginalized, rise up demanding freedom. Both sides, viewed through the lens of millennia, reveal a humanity that resonates across time, reminding us of our shared capacity for both cruelty and compassion, for oppression and liberation. The faith woven into this narrative is a powerful force. It transcends the realm of historical certainty, offering solace, hope, and a framework for understanding the inexplicable. The Exodus story, interpreted through the lens of faith, becomes a testament to divine intervention, a narrative of miraculous deliverance. It's a story that sustains communities and guides individual lives, even as the historical details continue to be debated. The uncertainty, however, is not a weakness, it is inherent to the process of understanding the past. It is in the very nature of the archaeological endeavor that we grapple with partial truths and fragmented narratives. Each newly discovered artifact, each painstakingly analyzed inscription presents new challenges and unexpected opportunities for further exploration. The weight of history, as we noted earlier, is made manageable not by eliminating uncertainty, but by embracing it. Let the image now settle in your mind. A quiet room, filled with the gentle glow of a single lamp. A weathered book lies open, its pages filled with hieroglyphs and faded illustrations, bearing witness to the passage of time. The air is still, the only sounds the gentle turning of pages and the quiet rhythm of your own breathing. The details, the nuances, the unanswered questions, all are held within this space, within the silent companionship of the past. They invite us to continue our own personal explorations, to engage with history on our own terms. Let the slow, steady pulse of your breath carry you into deeper relaxation. The weight of the past, no longer a burden, becomes a source of quiet contemplation. The complexities of history, faith, and uncertainty intertwine like the threads of a fine tapestry, each one adding depth and richness to the overall design. The desert night whispers its secrets, the stars shine with ancient light. Feel the coolness of the night air on your skin, the gentle weight of your blankets. Allow the image of the serene desert landscape to settle over your consciousness, a landscape of sand and stars, of silence and mystery. As we conclude this journey through the sands of time, may you find peace and tranquility in the quiet darkness. The mysteries remain, yes, but in this quiet space, they hold no fear. The rhythmic sound of your breath, the gentle pulse of your heart, these are your guides now, leading you toward the tranquil depths of sleep. The secrets of the past are safe, preserved in the darkness, waiting for another day, another journey of discovery. Let the soft darkness embrace you, carrying you into a peaceful, restful slumber. Sleep now and dream.